22nd session of the Hawaii County Council Committee on Planning to order. Today is February 4th, 2014. It is 1:53. We are here at the council chambers here in Hilo. For those of you in attendance and my fellow council members, please turn your cell phones, pagers, or other mobile communication devices on silent or off. I'll start by introducing the members of the committee present today. To my far left, I believe Mr. Onishi will be joining us. Ms. Willie, Ms. Poindexter, Ms. Ford, Mr. Yoshimoto, Ms. Eoff, Mr. Kanuha, and to my immediate right, Mr. Logan. I'm Zendo Kern, the chair. We'll start by taking statements from the public on items on the agenda. We have two here in Hilo, which I'll ask them to both come up, and then I'll check with the other sites. Can I please have Jonathan Scheuer and Deborah Ward please come forward and have a seat at the table. Pahoa, do we have any testifiers in Pahoa?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. There are no testifiers here in Pahoa.
Thank you very much. Keahou, do we have any testifiers in Keahou?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. We have no testifiers here in Keahou.
Thank you. Kona, any testifiers in Kona?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Yes, we do have one testifier today.
All right. And Kohala?
Good afternoon, Chair Kern. We do not have any testifiers for your committee.
Thank you very much. Waimea?
Aloha Winala, Chairman Kern. There are no testifiers here for you in Waimea.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have one testifier in Kona and two here, so we'll start here. We'll start with Jonathan Scheuer. He's here from the National Park Service to comment on communication 620. All testifiers will have 3 minutes. At 2.5 minutes, you're going to hear a prompt, a sound, and that's going to prompt you to summarize. And at 3 minutes, I'll ask you to please stop. And at 3 minutes, I'll ask you to please stop because it's the way I do it. 3 minutes for everybody. With that, give us your name and you may begin. And please turn the microphone on. Press the bar on the bottom of the. There you go. The floor is yours.
Aloha mai kako. I will try not to use 3 full minutes. My name is Jonathan Likeke Scheuer. I'm a consultant to the National Park Service, both Koloko Honokohau National Historic Park as well as the Water Resources Division of the National Park Service. And I will be very brief. I believe you have written testimony. We're just pleased that you're taking such a thoughtful and deliberative approach to try and understand what is really a complex area of Hawaii law, the state water code and how it's implemented, and what your advisory role is. So we're very grateful for that, and we're especially grateful too that we're going to have a chance to present more of the substantive information that led us to filing a petition for designation of a water management area for the Keahou aquifer in 2 weeks when you meet in Kona. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Could you please turn your microphone off? Mahalo. Deborah Ward from the Sierra Club here to support communication 620. Give us your name and you may begin.
Aloha. My name is Deborah Ward. I'm a member of the Sierra Club and I'm a member of the Conservation Committee of that club, of the Mokoloa group, which is the island group. We'd like to thank the Water Commission very much for making this presentation to you today. And we're in strong support of the designation of the Keahou aquifer system as a groundwater management area in order to address the careful management and of the culturally and environmentally significant areas for proactive protection. Where competing interests and high demand for resources exist, a groundwater management area has been demonstrably effective at ensuring the reasonable beneficial use of the water resources in a manner that's consistent with public interest. The Water Use Development Plan for the County of Hawaii states that the demand for water for permitted uses within the planning zone is twice the amount available for the aquifer at Keahou, and this is why we're concerned. Without staff support and management of the resource, shortages of public potable water, expensive desalination, and serious and irreversible consequences to precious cultural and natural resources could and likely will result. We're concerned that the development and use of wells within the high-level aquifer to support the Malka projects that have been proposed may affect the availability of groundwater that supports the fish ponds, the wetlands, and the Anklean ponds downslope. The Anklean ponds support endemic and native flora and fauna that depend on brackish groundwater, and these coral reef ecosystems, as well as the pools, ponds, and wetlands, are all dependent on the fresh water in the basal lens and perched managed aquifers. Withdrawals from the high-level aquifer could affect the basal lands, decreasing water levels and increasing salinity at those sites. A study that was conducted back in 1999 showed by Mr. Aoki and others showed that the groundwater flux to the coast along the Coloco-Honokohau National Historic Park could decrease by 50% if permits within the zones were maximized. And water levels throughout the national park have already dropped by almost half a foot since 1978 in response to modest levels of withdrawal. Seawater intrusion into the local aquifers would be irreversible and significant long-term impact to the local ecosystems and groundwater use. Mr. Brian Schatz, U.S. Senator, said in August of last year, in Hawaii, we consume the most water per capita in the United States. He said, more specifically, local residents use 18% more water than average Americans. With projected population growth, 350,000 more people by 2040, and increased demand, not to mention reduced precipitation as a result of climate change, the state must work now toward ensuring an adequate supply of water. Some say that designation of this groundwater management area is not urgent. We disagree. We urge the County Council to support the Water Commission in acting as soon as possible to protect the resources even before even more serious detrimental effects of groundwater withdrawal damages the ecosystems that support the fish we eat, the reefs that enthrall our residents and our visitors, and the birds and wildlife that make Hawaii unique in all the world. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. Could you do us a favor? Could you please give a copy of that to our staff so we could have copies made and we could
I'll
give it
give
to
you
our
all the
fellow
copies
council
I
members?
have, and I did give one to the staff. I apologize for not getting it to you earlier.
No worries. Thank you very much. Okay, Kona, will you please call up your testifier? And just so the public is aware and fellow council members know, we do not have video in Kona, so we're only going to be audio. So please call them up and they may begin.
Today we have Charles Flaherty to comment on Communication 620, representing Kona Hawaiian Civic Club.
Hello, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Committee. Thank you very much for this opportunity to testify on behalf of the Kona Hawaiian Civic Club. The Kona Hawaiian Civic Club in 2010 sponsored a resolution supporting protection of the Keahou aquifer, working with the Coloco-Honokohau National Park Service. That resolution was presented at the convention, the National Convention of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs at Turtle Bay on Oahu in 2010, and it passed unanimously at the National Convention. So we are very pleased to see the National Park Service come forth with this water management action plan. I hope that you will agree that the need for water management on the leeward side, specifically in the Kailua-Kona area, is essential for the sustainability of fresh water. We only have to look to West Virginia recently to see what happens when the freshwater supply is contaminated. And studies by the U.S. Geological Survey have already shown that the pharmaceutical drugs and different types of chemicals are being found in the fresh water that is flowing beneath Coloco-Honokohau. The same sorts of issues that were raised by the previous testifier are applicable, and there is an indeterminate number of approvals for housing units and commercial development in Kailua-Kona, and this water management action plan will help you as decision makers to know what water is available and how we can best protect the freshwater aquifer into the future, for future generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to give testimony from any of the locations? Please let me know. Seeing none, public testimony is now closed. If it's okay with my fellow council members, we're going to take the communications for the nominations out of order. Okay, very good. Mr. Clerk, will you please read in Communication 625?
Communication 625 nominates Max E. Newberg to the Board of Appeals from Mayor William P. Kanoy, submitting for the Council's review and confirmation the above nomination.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. May I have a motion to approve the nomination of Max E.